Hello everybody, merhaba, and welcome to the 13th episode of Raptors in 1. Today's game was a good game, guys. The Raptors, they took on the Washington Wizards at their home, and you know what? That revenge was sweet. I gotta say though, guys, the second quarter is when I really started to notice when the Raptors started to put the clamps on defensively. You know, typically they do like a third quarter thing where they put the clamps on, but this time they did it at the second quarter. But what went on with a hard-nosed defense, with a clamping style defense, was that their offense was clicking as well. I mean, Freddie was going hot, OG was going hot, Shvi was going hot, Gary Trent Jr. was going hot. Man, like these characters, they were just going hot at the right time. And of course, coupled with that clamping defense, it was just a recipe for success. And of course, if we look at the stats, you know, for the second quarter, the Raptors scored 30 points and they held the Wizards at 19. That's defense. And you know what, guys? That's the scary part about the Raptors right now. We know the defense will be there, but their offense is starting to come around. It's not even fully developed yet. There are still areas that they need to improve on. I mean, all their players need to contribute. The players who were playing well, especially in the preseason and in the summer league, and I'm talking about Precious there, you know, they need to start stepping it up. You know, Chris Boucher from last year and the seasons before that too, man. He was playing good. So if we can just have production from these guys as well, man, the league better watch out, because this year could, again, like I'm not going to jump ahead, not going to jump the gun, I'm not going to say a championship is coming, but you know, it's going to be close. It's going to be close to a championship if they keep this level up. And of course, not to mention, you know, Scotty Barnes did not play tonight. We did not have Scotty Barnes. We did not have Pascal Siakam. And we were definitely, you know, again, on paper, we were outsized. You know, Washington was clearly the bigger team in terms of height and, you know, presence in the paint. But of course, it didn't matter, because at the end of the day, Raptors scored 109 to finish the game, and they held Washington to 100 points. That's defense. Guys, I'm going to start off with, of course, the player of the game. We're going to start the stats off by mentioning this guy's stats, and it's none other than our future and floor general, because I feel like he's not there just yet, but he's very close. He's scratching the surface. He's starting to realize that he is the floor general, that we want him. Nay, we need him to be the floor general that Kyle Lowry once was. Now, I'm not saying he needs to mimic Kyle Lowry's game to the T, but he needs to have that commanding presence, that accountability, he needs to be vocal. He needs to be that leader who, when everybody else falters, he's the one who steps up, performs, and inspires everybody else who is struggling or faltering in their play to step up to his ideal of a good game. And I'm talking about none other than Mr. Steady Freddie Van Vliet, baby. So if we quickly look at his stats over here, I'm looking at all the minutes, and you know what? He's got the most minutes. 43 minutes. Wow. It's like almost played the whole game there. So he's in 43 minutes, 33 points. Yeah, man. 6 assists. That's great. See, this is what everybody needs to realize. Like, if he really wanted, he could have gotten those double assists. But he knows, and he's starting to realize when it's his time to attack and when it's his time to facilitate. He's starting to figure that out just now. And of course, like with the new personnel around him and the new style of playing and trying to understand that, trying to get used to that kind of style of play that Nick Nurse wants right now, it's working out, you know. And he's got his field goal percentage, amazing. He's got 13 of 22. That's amazing field goal percentage. One block, one steal. You know, he's there defensively, you know. And in tonight's game, like I was watching it on TSN, and they were showing the stats for the Raptors in terms of deflections compared to all the other teams in the league, and clearly we're leading in that stat. And that's not just because, you know, that's because we have really good defense. And of course, you know, Freddie, he's always helping out, trying to swipe at that ball from the weak side. Everybody else is starting to do that same thing, you know, and it's working out. The on the ball pressure is working out, and that's why we're leading the league in deflections. And I wouldn't be surprised if we keep up this intensity and we keep up this dedication to on the ball pressure throughout the season as well as the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if towards the end of the season we also lead the league in steals. It's gonna happen. Freddie was 50% from the 3-point arc. I mean, 3 for 6. That's pretty good. You know, I've always liked his shot, so not surprised. OG was our next guy. You know, he performed pretty well too. Again, you know, 39 minutes of action. He's looking at 21 points, 1 assist, and 5 boards. Not bad, you know, especially for a guy who is constantly defending the perimeter more so than in the paint. He still hit the glass pretty well. And of course, 1 block, 3 steals. The steals, like I said, you know, he's amazing at reading the defense, reading the opponent's offense, and of course jumping the passing lanes. Gary Trent Jr., he stood out to me too. You know, his confidence amazes me. And you know what? Like he could miss 5 or 6 shots, but when he starts rolling, and it does not affect him. He finds ways to impact the game. So, I mean, if we look at his stats, you know, 34 minutes of action, 15 points, 3 assists, 5 boards on 6 for 16 field goal percentage. This is what I'm talking about, right? He could miss like 4 or 5 shots in a row, but he'll make that big shot or he'll make that timely basket. Of course, his defense, again, 3 steals. That's crazy, man. Like he's consistently at least, it feels like his average is probably around like 2.5 steals a game since the season started. For me in this game, the 2 X factors, and I'm thinking 2 just because of what they did and how they played their roles, right? And I'm talking about Shvi Mahailu again, and of course Kem Birch. These 2 guys, they played extremely well. You know, for Shvi, he got 34 minutes. He had the start tonight, so he got 15 points, 4 boards on 50% field goal percentage. That's amazing. And again, 50% from the 3-point arc as well. You know, that's pretty good. Kem Birch, he got 21 minutes, 9 points, 2 assists, 5 boards. Again, 50% field goal percentage. And so one thing we all have to, you know, take into consideration here, Washington compared to us is a bigger team. They're a taller team, and, you know, of course, they're going to dominate us in the paint. Having said that, though, we hung our hat on defense, and we happened to catch fire at the right time, offensively, and, of course, taking care of the ball. Limiting those turnovers is what helps us out big time. And those were the keys to the game, in my opinion, and we won because of those games, because of those keys. Now, of course, Toronto, this is one of those rare games that we actually shot the ball better than the opponent. We had a 46.6% field goal percentage, and Washington had 43.6%. We were out-rebounded by 2 boards. I am not surprised. I honestly thought they out-rebounded us by a lot more than 2 boards, but hey, you know, I'll take it. We got the W. Again, like I mentioned earlier, taking care of the ball. We only had 10 turnovers, and we forced 13 turnovers from Washington. Good defense, taking care of the ball. recipes to win that game, and it seems like they're listening in on my videos. And if you are not listening in, then it's about time you did. Listen in, watch the videos, send a comment, give me a thumbs up, better yet, even subscribe. And you will get some really good analysis, because clearly the Raptors are listening in. Why can't you? Of course, I'm just kidding. I mean, I wish the Raptors were listening in on this, but hey, I will settle for some YouTube viewers listening in. So like I had mentioned, 3-point percentage. That's what I've been mentioning for the past God knows how many episodes I've done. That the Raptors really need to improve on that. Surely enough, this time around. And like I said, it seemed like they caught on fire at the right time. And if we look at the 3-point percentage for the Raptors, they were at 40%. And Washington, they limited them to 25%. Oof, defense. Well, it was a little bit of defense on them missing too, but actually no, not a little bit. It was mostly defense. Speaking of defense, of course, we have more steals than them. We had 10 steals and they had 6. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if those extra steals came from OG and Trent and Gary Trent, because that's what they do best, right? Blocks, I'm not surprised that they dominated us in the blocks, because again, they're longer in the paint, they're bigger in the paint. Yes, for sure, they should have gotten more blocks. They had 7 blocks and we had 3. Of course, points in the paint as well. They dominated us in the points. They had 40 points in the paint. We had 34. It was expected. But you know what? We compensated it for the 3-point field goal percentage. We'll take that. Fast break points, I'm actually a little surprised to see that we were even. We were at 6 apiece. And while I am surprised to see that, because we did make Washington turn the ball over more than we did, we also, and I noticed this in the game, we didn't necessarily capitalize on those turnovers. There were at least 2, if not 3 plays that I had seen where they had the numbers when they forced that turnover, whether it was a suck, whatever it may be. We had the numbers, but we just didn't capitalize on it. Coupled with, you got to give credit where credit's due. They actually hustled back on defense as well. But again, for the most part, we had the numbers and they did not take advantage of it. So hopefully they do a better job of that next game. You know what, I'm not going to give them too much grief about it, because we won the game. One stat that's really worrying me, and I had noticed that, and I have been mentioning this in my previous episodes as well, is the bench needs to contribute. Now, sure, we had Shvi, who was arguably our best bench player. Arguably, I say, because I know there's Delano Banton as well. But we're going to stick with Shvi being the best bench player right now. He was inserted in the starting lineup because obviously no Scotty Barnes. But having said that, it's still alarming, and I would really hope that the bench turns it around. I get it, the bench is not getting as many minutes to make an impact in the game, but maybe that's just because, I don't know, maybe either you're not practicing, you're not showing enough in the practice, or when you're actually given the opportunity in the game, you're not doing what the coach is asking of you, or you're not able to do what the coach is asking of you. So bench, I don't know, man, figure it out. We can't always just keep relying on the starters, because guess what, those upper echelon teams, they're going to realize that quick, that we rely on our starters, and they're going to keep targeting our starters, because we know the bench is not going to perform. So we got a next game on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5th of November. Remember, the 5th of November. That's right, we're taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers at home. And you know what? I'm not surprised that we're doing so good on the road, because, hey, last season, our home games were road games too, because we were playing in Tampa. So, yeah, we've become a road team now, officially. But again, I'm hoping this time around we take care of business at home and we get that W at home. Again, you want to have the home court advantage going into the playoffs, but we'll see how it goes. One piece of advice for the Toronto Raptors, guys. I know you got a 5-game win streak, and that's awesome. I could not be happier, considering that you're short on personnel. Having said that, keep that momentum moving forward, but watch out for the Cleveland Cavaliers, because yes, their record is like 5-4, which, considering for this Cavaliers team, is actually pretty good. So I would really be careful in this game, because this game has the feel of a trap game all over it. So guys, take care of business. Don't get complacent. Keep that same pressure. Have that same attitude, that same demeanor. You want to be aggressive. You want to get this win. Nobody wants it more than you. So, and I have faith in you guys. So I'm gonna pick the Raptors to win this, and it's gonna be a double-digit win, baby. That's right. I know the Cavaliers are bigger than us, but hey, like I always say, we got to play big. Even if you're not big, it doesn't matter. Just play big. We'll be all right. So that's it for me, guys. Until next time, good night. Gule gule. I'm out.